explained to you. Initially, we were just discussing your understanding of God.
And I explained it, right? I think I explained it sufficiently.
You did. And now I'm saying, which I did in the beginning, that I think that's a restrictive way of defining God. And I'm about to give you reasons for why.
That's just like trivial. Aren't all definitions like going to be restrictive of everything? Like, what do you mean?
He just wants to keep like a definition vague enough so he can like muddy the waters and run away.
Well, okay, if you think that, let's just end it now then, because it doesn't seem to be very productive.
If what one means,
we're going in circles.
Look, if what one means by God is their left foot, and you don't incorporate that definition into your account of your semantic thesis of God, then seemingly that's just going to be restrictive as to their notion of the term use, and it could just like do what you're doing like right now against you, right, and say that you're restricting it so it's not inclusive of their understanding, right? Like obviously, presumably you're not like a lexical realist, right, or linguistic or semantic realist, right? You don't believe that there's facts about definitions other than like some like propriety, right, like conduciveness towards the norm of someone's like language use, right? There might be facts about how one uses terms, right, or definitions, but there's not going to be a facts implicator, right, like existentially about how definitions work. So seemingly all one means by some term use is the corresponding information or semantic content when they invoke the term, right? So it's very like, so Marco,
look, let me make it easy
so Marco
for you.
from the outset elucidated like what he meant by the term use, right? And you're just like whining like a child because you like his definition isn't used the same way as you, right? Why is that interesting?
This dude, listen, can you be quiet for a second? Thanks. So
I think monkeyboy explained it well. He owned your ass.
Auntie, do you understand that the Abrahamic God isn't the antonym of atheism?
Under Marco's language use, it might be.
It might be. That's right. But I'm saying
so if all he means by atheism is the rejection of Abrahamic gods, then theism is the commitment to Abrahamic gods. Right? Once again.
Sure. And under somebody else's definition, atheism and Islam might mean the very same thing. I agree with that. But I'm saying that's a very bad way of having a conversation. If we are going to use philosophical terms, let's sort of have some...
Again, that's just to regurgitate that it doesn't conduce to your norm of language, which once again is not interesting because you're not like a normative realist about lexicon, right? So he's not interested in what is going to be like a right or what should we use as some specific definition, right? I don't take it language is normative, and presumably neither do you, right? All that matters is the descriptive facts of the like correspondence between the norm and the semantic.
Look, let me make it easy for you.
Language.
When I use certain words,
as long as it's not listen, all that matters is if the term use is opaque.
I want to refer to established philosophical verbiage, right? I don't want to use Marco's made-up definitions. I could if I'm very charitable to him.
How the fuck is the definition?
Wait, do you take it?
Like people use these definitions.
Look, see, every time he talks, it seems more and more like evidence that he is like some semantic realist or something. Look, I don't know what you mean by made-up definitions. Presumably, we both take the view that all definitions are made up.
This is a very weird discussion.
Look, all that matters is... Sorry, I'm talking, sorry.
They're not made up in the
sorry,
moment.
hold on, sorry,
They're
listen.
Not all made
okay, sorry.
In the moment. That's the difference.
Okay, just calm down for a moment.
You get that point?
No, listen, what you're...
Do you get that point?
The point is that...
Not all definitions are made up in the moment.
I don't know why you're constantly over-talking. Yeah, listen, all that is going to be pertinent is whether or not there's going to be some opacity or unclear as to what Marco means, but it's not the case that that's the issue, right? Because from the outset, he already gave you his definition, so you're very clear on what he means by God, right? All you're doing is whining about the fact... Sorry, I'm not done talking. First of all, I don't know what the issue is, right?
I don't care.
Presumably, when you say there's a problem...
Why would I respect...
Listen, I don't... Why do you have the need to, like, over-talk me when I'm talking?
You're not...
Listen,
can
we get a moderator to, like,
engage with?
You're the one over-talking me. I don't know how...
You don't have to.
Okay,
well, I don't want to talk to you.
I mean, that's fine. You can run away.
I think
you can run away.
That's not...
It was obvious that you just wanted to
really an issue.
get-go. Yeah. Like, it was obvious since we started talking that you wanted to run away. I just ask you, like, do you have any argument to present?
It's not a fruitful discussion.
Definitions and
it's not.
But listen, when you say there's a problem with his definition, either you're talking about some problem normatively in which it just doesn't conduce to your norm, or you're saying that he made an error in defining a term, right? And you would have to like illuminate what the error was, right? And that's when you say there's an error in a definition, that seems to say that he's not using like a term consistently.
Error.
Well, you said
say error. You're not
sorry.
listening.
Sorry, seems you're not tracking, right?
You're
you said
not listening.
Sorry.
You're not tracking. I never said error.
Sorry, what did I say? What did I say right before? No. Listen.
You guys are in a thought loop. You guys keep talking over each other. Literally lying.
I never said you said error, right?
It just proves my point. Yes, you did. This just proves that you're a dishonest interlocutor.
Listen, what I said was. Hold on.
MSR is the only one.
Sorry, what I said. Oh well, he left. But what I said was, presumably, when you say he has a problematic definition, is to like say that there's an error. That's what I said very clearly, right? But he just ran away because he's like a retarded punk.
I just don't.
Funny, but I think monkeyboy kind of made the same point I was making as well, but more eloquent.
Self-explanatory. I don't have to prove anything to you. Honestly, I don't have to prove the existence.
Well, wait. First of all, that there's already a category error.
Tell that nothing could exist without an intelligent creator. This could have none of the stuff you.
We're not interested in that. Do you have an argument?
Well, first of all, when you say self-explanatory, when explanatory just means some hypothesis that accounts for datum, which is different from an inference, right? Which is to establish the truth value of some proposition. So those are entirely different, right? Because what I asked you was if you had an argument for God, and then you said the existence of God is self-explanatory, right? So that's already a category error. So also, I'm not necessarily clear on what you mean by self-explanatory.
You're playing on semantics
because
now. You're just
that's not.
Yeah, sure.
I don't understand.
Not semantics. Saying everything isn't evidence.
Retarded. You're fucking retarded.
Yeah, I don't think you know what it means to like play with semantics. all I'm doing.
The whole world is evidence.
Listen. Using the standard term use and telling you how the way you're using the terms is going to lead to category error isn't semantic, like playing semantics. Playing semantics is like equivocation or something like that, where I'm just like trying to argue for the existence of God, and what I mean by God is like dog, and I don't elucidate that from the outset, right? That's something like a semantic game or something.
I think you should really work on your communication skills, because you know exactly what I meant. You still.
Well, I didn't, right?
Like every single word, I'm like just really pointless, man. Come on.
Well, am I just supposed to presume that everything you said was outside the standard term use, or like I don't have superpowers, right? I can't read.
To make it
your mind.
To make it clear, monkeyboy's calling you retarded. That's it. It's like, why would we assume that you use like such a weird definition for words?
Listen, I just want to get clear. What's your account as to why God exists?
I just gave you. I told you I don't have to prove anything to you. You could just observe your surroundings, observe the environment, and you could easily reach the conclusion.
There's going to be two ways of interpreting that. When you say
there has to be an intelligence creator.
Sorry.
I mean, you look at a plane.
Sorry, hold on.
To yourself, wow, there has to be an intelligent designer for this.
No, he's a Muslim. Well, I mean, maybe I don't know. Listen, there's going to be two issues. When you say you don't have to give a proof, either that implies a modal invocation or like a normative one, right? So when you say have to meet the criterion of like a rational like belief, right, or the fact that the statement you're saying is true, of course you're going to have to give like a formal proof, right? That's just going to be like necessary to meet the criterion. But if you're saying normatively that you're not like obligated to, right? No one's making this like deontic prescription of what you must do, right? I'm fine with you like running away and you committing to the proposition, right? I have no interest in pinning you on giving a justification.
If you read between the lines, he does sort of make some propositions.
Yeah, I don't think I can tangibly prove the existence of God.
I don't know what you mean by tangibly. If what you mean by tangibly is empirically, then once again, seemingly there's not going to be an ability to empirically endeavor into the existence of God if you define God as like non-material, right? Or like some spiritual substance, right? So once again, that's going to fall back to another category error. And you've made two category errors in this conversation.
I don't scare. First of all, make any what you would deem to be errors or fallacies. I honestly don't give a shit. You guys are just making this shit up.
Right well, that's fine. I can just say I exist, therefore God doesn't exist. I exist, therefore God doesn't exist. And it's not the case. I have to generate the evidence for the premises, given that you don't care for whether or not there's evidence generated for the inference. Right? So I'm justifying believing God doesn't exist. I gave you a formal proof that doesn't like necessitate evidence.
Yeah, as I told you.
I just hold you to your same standard. I don't care about evidence to hold rational beliefs.
If that was the case, that we can empirically prove the existence of God, then it wouldn't be a test to begin with, right? Why would it be a test? You could
no one's asking for empirical. I just explained how that's a category error, right? What I want is not some empirical establishment of God existing, right? I told you that's not feasible, or rather, that's not possible, right? What I'm asking for is for you to give some inference that is non-empirical, right? Maybe a cosmological argument, some a priori case, right? That's what most apologists do. Maybe an inductive case, right?
Okay, so do you believe something come out of nothing?
Do I believe that? No.
All right, so you believe in an infinite regression then? Like,
how does that follow?
Well, it follows because everything which exists has a cause, right?
Do you agree with this premise? No, I don't agree with that premise. Also, I don't know what you mean by premise. Do you mean proposition? Because a premise is going to be a constitutive of an inference, right? And it's not the case. Seemingly, you conveyed an argument.
All right.
So I don't know. Oh wait, he left? Yeah, he left. Dude, these like Muslims are like so retarded. He says semantic games, and everything he's saying is like all proprietary language.
You believe in infinite regression.
What was that? He said, "Do you believe something comes from nothing?" And I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Therefore, you believe in an infinite regress." Right? Those aren't like dichotomous.
I mean, every single metaphysics has that same problem anyway. First cause or infinite regress. Choose.
Well, that's not a dichotomy, right? I can believe something comes from nothing, or there's going to be something that came from something else that which doesn't have some explanon for that thing. Right? So either a thing came from nothing, or a thing came from a thing that's like a brute fact. Right? That can be an alternative, right? Brute facts.
Yeah, that's Oppie's view. Like, he says, if something is beginningless, that entails an infinite regress. So, if you have a beginning,
also,
then there is no infinite regress.
I don't really understand what the issue... Because, first of all, there's like metaphysical dispute whether the commitment to an additional substance is actually going to be less parsimonious than like an infinite regress of a singular substance, right? So take it that I believe in there being an infinite regress of physical facts. Presumably he like commits to like an immaterial thing, right? Like whatever you want to call it, is spiritual deity, right? That's like subsumed under a different like substratum or like substance. So it's not clear if like you committing to there being two substances is actually going to be more detrimental than me saying there's an infinite set of a singular or an infinite set of members subsumed under the same substance. That's actually like highly metaphysically disputed. So either way, he wouldn't be able to generate like a parsimonious case for, but obviously he wasn't going to do that because he's a Muslim. So he doesn't even know what like theoretical virtues or vices are. So what he wanted to do is say like an infinite regress was impossible. And once again, he wouldn't be able to do that. First of all, he would probably presume an infinite regress would believe that there's like a beginningful past and the present is the end of an endless set, right? Which is like retarded in a common misconception of how an infinite regress would work for a past infinite universe, right? It would actually be that for every moment in the past, there's going to be a succeeding past event in which events move backwards in time, in which for any point we stand, there's going to be a finite distance from that point to the present. So first of all, even under his account of which he's talking about, where right, there's not going to be a logical contradiction in there being an infinite regress. What he wants to say is there's going to be a contradiction from the transversing of the first point to the end point. And even then, even though it is contradictory, these Muslim idiots are so dumb, he probably wouldn't even be able to generate the contradiction for that view.
I mean, I don't think any of that matters, because they're going to oppose some kind of eternal deity that began everything, which I think is just an infinite regress anyway. So, boom, guilty.
Oh, well, yeah, that too. It doesn't actually eliminate the fact there's an infinite regress of gods. I didn't bring that up, but yeah, I mean, that's not really going to be relevant because I could just ask him, what makes it the case that an infinite regress of, entities under the same substance is actually worse than there being a plurality of like metaphysical substances? And he wouldn't be able to generate that case either. The existence of Allah.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, great.
Yes, I do. I have an argument.
Oh, either of you can present.
Okay, here's the argument. There is none. People emotionally.
Can like Hassan please like talk about his arguments, Chase? Thank you.
What? Wait, what?
I want Hassan to talk about present his arguments. Sorry.
Oh well, already what I heard this Lord of the Synth dude say is already going to be a waste of my time. So.
Wait, what did I say? I haven't even uttered anything yet.
I could Chase that Hassan talk please. Thank you.
I don't. She's on that microphone. I can't understand again. Sorry, Yuri.
Yeah, go ahead, son.
Yeah, just go. I just have no utterances. I said nothing, and waste of time. I don't know.
So, have you studied Kant?
Okay.
Well, I'm not really interested in a question. What I asked was, do you have an argument? So just present the argument.
No, I was asking you because.
Yeah, I know Kant's work. Yes, I'm aware of Kant's work. Now give the argument.
What do you know about Kant's philosophy on human dignity?
I'm not clear how this, because what was asked was, do you have an argument, and then what was asked after that?
That's the argument.
What do you think an argument is?
No, I mean the Kant's position on the human dignity.
But sorry, Kant's position isn't an argument. A position's not an argument.
Yeah, but you have to let me finish the sentence.
No, what I need is an argument.
And all hyper. Are you like?
Well, I'm not hyper, right? I just want it to be univocal.
Okay.
Well, what I want, for clarity, I don't want you to
What you want is to stop everyone in the middle of sentence and then
what I want is I don't want you to go down.
So that's what you want.
Sorry.
Okay, I got it.
What I don't want you to do is go down a rabbit trail of something that's not what I'm asking for.
Is to stop everyone. You wouldn't talk about.
No, because when I ask for an argument and I sniff out that when they're talking, it's not an argument. What I do is sorry.
You just claim that you're such a.
What I do is I interject because what they're doing is not relevant to what I'm asking.
Asking you a question. Tell me about Kant's human dignity and his philosophy.
Oh my God.
His moral philosophy.
No, I'm not interested in that. What I asked for was an argument.
Oh, you're not interested.
No, I'm not interested in answering your questions.
Oh, no.
You said you had an argument and that you would deploy an argument, and then you just avoided. Here, I'm gonna mute this other retard. So if you don't have an argument, just say that. If you don't have an argument, just say that. Okay, who's leaving? Is it him? So, oh yeah, he's here. So, Isan, if you don't have an argument, just say that.
If you can't talk about Kant's positions, then
but that's not what an argument is, right? I'm willing to talk about Kant.
That's an argument. What is Kant's argument on human dignity?
I don't know. Present it.
Okay.
I'm not supposed to give the argument, right? Yeah. I asked you to deploy the argument.
I wanted you to admit that you don't know what you're talking about. But then again,
wait, what did I say that I don't know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, that you're so well versed in philosophy. You're not, right? Okay.
I didn't even say anything about that. You asked me if I know.
What does that have to do with
hold on?
Position is irrelevant. Can you
let's just leave it? Hold on. Let's just leave it at a 1v1, right? So what I asked was, well, first you asked me if I'm aware of Kant's the Kantian position. And I said yes, I'm aware of Kantian philosophy. And then you said, okay, that's not an argument, right? Kant made many arguments for many things, and many of the stuff he said were also not even arguments, right? So I'm not clear what argument for what are you actually trying to elucidate. So illuminate an actual argument by deploying it. And what I mean by argument is going to be a set of premises and a conclusion in which the conclusion is going to be truth preserved from the premises.
Yeah, okay. So what's wrong with usual arguments? Can you tell me about it? I mean, whatsoever. Forget it. It doesn't look like you're,
what do you mean normal argument? What is meant by argument is a set of premises and a conclusion.
The cosmological argument, the simplest of most common, well-known arguments, like the cosmological arguments.
Okay, well then present the argument. I don't know what you're doing.
Do you know what the Kalam cosmological argument is?
Well, there's many models of the Kalam, right? There's many ways people articulate it, which are different.
William Lane Craig's version. William Lane Craig's version. Premise 1: everything that begins to exist has a cause. Universe began to exist, and conclusion from there it follows that universe has a cause. What's wrong with this argument?
Well, I reject both premise 1 and 2, and even then, there's going to need to be a stage 2 argument that's necessary to establish the existence of a god.
Yeah.
Do you have that argument, Hassan?
Also, there's many things that are opaque in this argument. I'm not really clear what you mean by causation. I'm not really clear what the causal theory is.
The causal principle.
Well, first of all, I don't take it causation's going to be a principle, so you'd have to give an argument independently for that. But what I'm asking for is what's the model of causation, right? Causation isn't univocal. There's many different philosophers who have different notions of how causality functions, right? So saying everything that which begins to exist has a cause can be radically different. So I need to know what's the theory of causality.
What's the theory of causality that that cause comes first before effect? Like, I mean, that's kind of the principle. But if you don't accept that, then
for clarity, what do you mean by principle?
The principle of causality.
No, I'm asking, what do you mean by principle? I'm aware that the principle you're invoking is the principle of causality. I'm asking, what do you mean by principle?
What do I mean by principle?
Yeah, that was a very clear...
like I'm like scientific principle, things like that.
What? What I'm asking for is a definition of the term principle.
Can't really think of like how to define exactly what a principle would be, but it's like a, for example, say you could say a logical axiom or something.
Well, I take it that axioms and principles are actually distinct. So if all you mean by principle is axiom, then that's going to have entirely different conclusions for what you're talking about. Is that what you mean, axiom? And even then, I'm not going to be clear what you mean by axiom, because now you're just using a synonym, which isn't informative of the semantic contents of the expression. Right? So now I'm going to need to do more semantic analysis as to what the actual contents of the utterance means. So what do you mean by axiom then? Right? I can give you a characterization of the term in the way I invoke it, right? But seemingly that's going to have issues for your own position. And unless you're going to be willing to undertake the issues and try and resolve that, there's going to be like a lot of work for you to do. So maybe you can either tell me if you want my characterization, or you can just give your understanding of the term use. Hello, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, I'm going to get clear if either you want for me to give my characterization, or you could just give your understanding of the term use.
Like, I mean, I'm when it comes to this argument, the cosmological argument, this is like, it's not something very complicated. It's used in a general sense that things come into existence have some explanation.
How is this relevant to anything I'm saying? What is this responding to?
I thought I was responding to like, okay, what is the form of causality there in like premise one?
What I wanted was for you to cash out the term axiom / principle, since you said they were synonyms.
Why do you want that?
Because you said that the argument relies on the causal principle, and I said I'm not clear what you mean by principle, nor the theory of causation you're employing in the argument. You didn't explain.
So
you gave. Well, first of all, what happened was you gave some like example or like an analogy, right? You said, well, you can think of a principle something much like some. You said like a logical axiom, and I said, well, first of all, obviously examples are going to be underdetermined, right? And that's not going to be an analysis of the term use. And I said, second, unless it's not the case, that's what that meant, in which you're using axiom and principle synonymously, then you're going to need to still give me an account for axiom, right? And it seems that you're undertaking the view that they're synonymous, unless you like are going to clarify that you're not, and that principle and axiom are different. I just want to get clear what you mean.
So well, I mean, so it's not exactly like an axiom in the strict sense, like a self-evident, universally accepted proposition. But in this case, when it comes to this argument, it's more like a you could say it's a philosophical premise.
So you just don't have a definition, or
what definition of what?
Principle.
A definition of principle.
Mm-hmm.
So a principle here means like a common intuition, like about causation.
Oh, if all you mean by common intuition, that's not going to be interesting, right? So if all you mean by a causal principle is you have an intuition of causation, then I can grant you that, and that's not going to be like pertinent to like the argument at all, because seemingly you said earlier that this is going to hinge on a causal principle, and all you mean by is causal seeming, right? And even then, if all you mean by if this argument relies on a causal seeming, and I don't take it that seemings are justifiers, then why would I? This just like mitigates the argument. But listen, we could just avoid all this. So what's the justification? Or
like, go on. Like, I mean, it seems like at least your atheist buddies here would be convinced with the bullshitting.
Sorry,
go on. Like, I'd like to hear.
What bullshitting have you done?
So therefore, like, I mean, when it comes to like, something like causality, right? So is this? Would you say that we like, something that?
Wait, real quick. What bullshit
like
have I done?
Is causality something that we experience and like therefore we conclude, or is it like
real quick, I just want to know if you're going to give me like an example of the bullshit I've conveyed. If not, we could just like move past it.
Yeah, like, okay, so if it is not like if it is something that is like I was saying that like a common intuition, right, about causation, then it's not like valid or something. Like, what's the idea here? I mean, that's what I said.
Is this supposed to be an answer to what the bullshit was?
Yeah.
Wait, so what? I'm not.
You're saying, okay,
so
if it is
I'm not very
intuition, then that's not valid or something.
No, validity deals with inferences. So I don't know. I never said valid. Right? I said if what you mean by causation or a causal principle is some intuition of causation, then seemingly that's not going to be relevant or interesting. Given I'm just not going to grant the intuition as a justifier. Well, yeah, I'm not going to grant it as a justifier.
Therefore, it's not justifier. So, like, you need something that we've experienced and concluded.
I just need an argument
rationally,
or an analysis of the term use.
Yeah, so this is like, I mean, what is your, let's say, like, I've kind of like, I think this point is like when it comes to the premise one.
Look, we can move past this principle part. I don't know why you're making it so complicated, but yeah, we can move past this. I just want to get
like, why must you like talk over me like I'm
because I'm saying we can move past this point, right, entirely. I'm not interested in like, further disputing whether it's a principle.
So let me finish, and then you can talk, or you don't want to have a conversation. You're just here to.
Well, I'm not going to let you continue to like tirade about something that isn't.
Meaning what? Like, are you scared of letting me talk?
No, I'm scared of wasting time, right? I'm not interested in hearing you ramble.
You're scared of wasting time, so then why are you discussing? Like, I would discuss with anyone else.
What do you mean? We can just discuss about a point that's relevant to the argument.
Is this your channel, or like, are you the owner of the channel?
What are you talking about?
Is this your channel?
Wait, are you just...
Is the channel...
Are you not... Look, now it seems like you're being dishonest. If you're willing to engage
anyone else other than this troll discuss with me, like... Yeah, you're...
Well, are you willing to discuss the topic? Are you willing to discuss the topic with him, or are you going to keep
I'm trying to discuss the topic, bitch, but like...
You're not staying on topic.
Look, because everything you're saying is not going to be an analysis of the term use when you say principle, right? Everything you gave me was verbose nothingness, right? It's just yapping. And I said it's not even going to be... It's not even going to be, like, vital to the point of your argument. Right, so I said we can just leave it, but you wanted to continue to ramble about the point that is going to be entirely extraneous to the inference that you're conveying.
He has issues, and he thinks that, okay, like, when I'm talking, it's wasting time. But I want to talk about, exactly what is relevant, and the troll will let me talk.
Yeah, so do you think, if you think it's relevant
to the conversation,
if you think it's relevant, just present why.
Present why. I would, if you let me talk.
Oh, bitch. So, well, don't continue the ramble. Present how it's relevant, right? And then you can ramble if it's relevant.
Okay, so like again, is this the best atheist here? Like, isn't there anyone else who can actually?
I don't know why you're engaging with the meta like stupid
this is the best you
random.
Really?
Yeah, this is just like random red herrings, right? This is not like engaging with your own argument, right? That I'm criticizing, right? And you admitted that you're willing to ramble. And then you said it's not ramble because it's relevant. Then I said present the reason why you believe it's relevant. And now you're saying, is this the best atheist? And you're not actually presenting a motivation to believe it's relevant, right? You're just dodging. You dodge at every corner. Listen,
you're the one who is dodging. You're
sorry.
Like,
what did I dodge?
Yes, you're dodging because
I dodged
you're
a
not
ramble.
letting me talk.
Is that?
You're making this like passive aggressive insults. You're rambling.
Wait, Isan, you're the one who's insulting. You're the one who keeps calling him a bitch.
Yeah.
I think that's the word you're using, right?
Yeah.
Isan, don't. Isan, are you willing to stay on topic?
Look, let's just move to what you mean by causation, right? What do you think you mean by causation?
I've already explained what I mean by causation in this argument.
No, you didn't.
If there is any honest listener here, then they would note that yes, I've already
explained it. I will ask anyone in the audience then, right? If they heard it. If it's not the case, anyone in the audience heard and can reproduce your analysis of the term causation, then seemingly you're going to need to regurgitate what you mean, right? If it is the case that you actually presented a case for it, and seemingly it's not to me, right? So is anyone here willing to text or mic up and give what his account of what he means by causation? You could ping me in the side chat if anyone heard. Or better yet, if you didn't hear, ping me and say you didn't hear. So we can get clear. There might be people that are AFK.
Your leader said you didn't hear one. Okay, so it seems at least the silence actually. All right, okay, so another one says didn't hear. Okay.
Yeah, so 3 people didn't hear. Well, technically 4 including me.
Nobody here
exists.
Let's see what like.
God does not exist.
Just mute that idiot.
God does exist.
Okay, well he left. Great. So yeah, so do you mind just reproducing your understanding, right? Unless you're like trying to bamboozle me and say, "Oh, I gave my account. If you can't engage with it, then you lose," or something like that BS, which is ironic. Then you said I was bullshitting.
I've said.
Because if you were honest, you would just make it transparent. And if it is the case,
let me talk.
You presented your account, and I didn't capture the account. Then just reproduce the account so I can capture it to give my criticisms.
So let me just say what I said.
You don't see how you're just like getting hyper and scared.
Here, yeah, you're the troll who's like.
How am I trolling?
Just doesn't want to let me talk at all, right? And you keep claiming all these things, and your cheerleader here would be like, cheering for you. Oh, he didn't.
What claim did he make, Isan? What claim did he make? Can you repeat it? Can you repeat his claim?
I've defined it.
RJ, hold on. I know it's like really, really enticing to like call him out and all of like the filthy intellectual garbage and lies and like bad tracking he has, but let's just try and keep it at a 1v1. By the way, Insun, I don't actually know this guy. This is the first time I met him, so I don't know what you mean by he's my cheerleader. It's just so very clear to anyone in this VC that you're like performing horribly.
But he goes everywhere. I mean, like, can someone remove this troll, this Fletcher troll?
Okay, so what's your account causation? I won't interrupt.
Okay, so I've already said it, right? That it is the causality when it comes to this argument is used in the general sense that things come into existence or began to exist, have some cause or explanation for their existence. So the idea here is that events or entities don't just pop into existence, but they have some kind of underlying.
But that's not an account of causation. And if it is,
that's not an account of causation.
Yeah, that's not. And if it is, you reuse the term use causation in the definition, which would presumably entail a circular definition, right? So it's not going to be.
How is it? What?
Yeah. So what I want is what you mean by causation.
I reuse the word like. Okay.
Yeah, using the term use in the definition isn't informative.
Using the term. Okay, so how else should I explain what I'm talking about? Like I'm literally explaining what it means for a like in the premise one.
No, that's not what I'm asking,
so
though.
simple.
I'm not asking how it ties to the argument. I'm asking what's the account of causation, right? There's different philosophers who have different notions of what causation means, like the term causation, right? When I say there's a cause and effect, philosophers interpret that hundreds of different ways, right? So I want to get clear what's your model causation that's used, which is going to be parasitic upon the argument, right? So I want to know what you mean by cause and effect, if that's what you mean by causation. So just clarify.
So, like I said, that the causal principle, it says that whatever begins to exist has a cause for its existence. So this principle is...
That's, again, a circular definition. Everything which begins to exist has a cause. I want to know what you mean by cause and effect. What?
Like, can you give an example of like what you're looking for exactly?
Yeah, so when I say I have cotton candy, and I say I don't know what the term candy means when you produce that utterance, right? And I ask you, what do you mean by candy in that expression? And you say, oh, what I mean by candy is a sugary candy treat, right? That recycles the definition that is unclear to me, right? So what I need is a definition of the term use, right? Candy is X, and that definition is going to be some analytical correspondence with the term.
Yeah, I mean, so like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like, so whatever begins to exist means here that, like, you know, that things come into existence or begin to exist at some point.
But that's talking about the premise, not the term itself.
Okay, so and cause means like that anything that starts to exist does so because of a like a cause or reason.
Again, so you just use the term here. Let's make it more, let's say preschool level. What do you mean by cause and effect separately? Right. First, define cause. If I say this caused that, what does cause mean?
Okay, like I'm thinking how to dump it down in preschool level. I guess like you could say that cause it's like some kind of say, agent or some factor or something that, you know, there's some kind of condition that brings about the existence of something. Is that okay? And for effect.
So all you mean by cause is like an existential condition?
Existential condition.
Yeah, some conditioning for something to
Define
like
existential
exist.
condition.
Yeah, all you mean is that there's going to be some condition for the existence of something. Is that a accurate characterization? What you mean by a cause is some condition for the existence of something?
Isn't there a what? sorry, I was reading something.
Yeah, so if all you mean, what I'm asking is if this is a proper characterization. What you mean by cause is that there's going to be some condition for the existence of something.
No, something that brings about the existence of something, right? So
what?
There is, like I said.
I'm asking for listen, when I asked, when you defined causation, you said the conditions for the existence of something.
This really, it's like, you know, like, this are you actually trolling here? Like, to tell me this, like, are you trying to be like lost. Mr. Batman or?
So just I just need a yes or no. I just need a yes or no if this is a proper characterization.
That's like, can you tell me? Okay, you know what?
I don't know. It's super hard.
Hey, bitch! I'm giving you one last opportunity. Tell me, what is your like rebuttal to something like, you know, you wanted to move on, right? So what is your rebuttal to something like the successive addition argument?
Why would I move on? Unless you want to say, unless you're saying you don't want to.
You're honestly a troll. You're nothing but
I'm not trolling. Okay. Listen, if you don't want to, if you want to argue a different argument, that's fine. If what you mean is you want to move on from the column.
It's the same argument, bitch.
Oh, it's the same column.
It's the same argument. This is the same argument, you stupid bitch.
Okay, great.
What is your response? What is your rebuttal to successive addition argument or the causal finitism argument? Go ahead.
Yeah, you can present the arguments.
Oh, you don't know what these arguments are?
No, not by name.
Oh, okay. So that's it. Like, I don't have anything to say.
So you don't actually have the arguments.
Who doesn't even know something as basic as like, okay, causal finitism argument, successive addition argument, what cause means, and he goes on to like, like play semantics.
But when I ask for an argument, what I'm asking for is something not nominal. I'm asking for something inferential, right? I want an inference, not a term that appropriates some argument. I want the actual argument.
Exists. What's the actual argument? That's the actual argument, bitch.
I just explained when I asked for the argument, I'm not asking for something nominal. I'm asking for something inferential. Right? I just want the argument.
Like it took you 25 minutes to admit you don't know anything about Kant's human dignity and
everyone in DC heard I never said that. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, you were talking about how much you studied philosophy. As soon as I started asking questions about the things you were talking about, and you're like, okay, I don't know. I never claimed so. Okay.
What?
Wait, he never claimed to know
much
about philosophy. When did he say that?
No, I did. Earlier,
okay.
But I'm not clear what you're talking about now, right? You asked me if I'm aware of Kantian philosophy, and I said yes. And then you said, give me a rebuttal to Kant's argument. And I said, what's the argument? And then you said, oh, so you don't know Kant. What are you talking about?
You could probably...
Yeah, there are many arguments.
Yeah, I told him that. There's many arguments from Kant and many even more that are not formalized, that can be characterized from his works.
I asked you something specific, like very specific about...
Oh, what was that?
Yeah, about the human dignity. What was his
moral position on that? You asked me what's the rebuttal for the argument from moral dignity.
Wait, what's his moral position on the human dignity? You just mean like are you asking?
I just want to get clear if you're gonna like
wait 1 second. Repeat the question. You said what's his position on what?
About the human dignity.
Wait, do you mean that you should treat humans as ends in themselves and not means to an end? Is that what you're asking for?
Sorry, what? Wait
1 second. Let me get to a better area.
Yeah.
I just want to know if you're going to be willing to actually engage.
Are you talking about the whole thing where like you should treat humans as ends in themselves and not means to an end? Is that what you're saying?
No. Like, I mean, he had a very specific argument about the the foundation of morality and the categorical imperative.
You mean like the universalization principle? And
yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
Yeah. No. But okay. Fine. But aside, I mean, I don't think that's relevant to the Kalam. But one more thing, I didn't like what you were doing. So, like, fine. So the successive addition, fine. Like maybe Darf doesn't know what that is. But when you ask him the causal finitism argument, that's just like a vague term. Like, there is no specific causal finitism.
I kept telling them every time you like invoke these nominal arguments. There's many representations, and earlier he said he's using the Kalam, which...
We'll just let him finish.
I mean, look at the level of, like... I mean, as soon as I started talking, he has to talk over me. So, sure, okay, so there are many versions of it, right? Okay, causal finitism, there are so many versions of it. But, like, I mean, it didn't even look like he knows, like, what I'm referring to. What I'm referring to when it comes to, for example... like, okay, so the whole idea is kind of like, okay, like there cannot be an infinite regress of causally connected events or things like that. So
yeah, all I asked you was what's your model of causation, and you refused to answer.
Well, look. I mean, I'm sure. All I'm saying is that mostly arguments for causal finitism will be in the form of different energetic paradoxes. There might be different arguments that are pointed to, but aside from like why not? Is there any issue of just telling him what the argument is and then having him respond to you? Or I don't.
No, every time I ask him for an argument, he just wouldn't present one.
Some level of literacy, right? So some level of literacy before we talk about these things, and before you like pretend so much to know about you know so much about philosophy, but it seems you don't even know the basic terms and you don't have the basic literacy on these things.
What do you mean I don't know the basic terms? Of what terms are you talking about?
What terms?
Yeah, what terms are you saying that I'm unaware of?
What? Yeah, I mean, I have the same question actually. What terms is it that you don't know?
Okay, is there any term that you don't know? So you don't know the actual terms that you're saying I'm unaware of?
You tell me.
Yeah, just name one. Just name one. I'm not the one saying that I'm unaware of terms, right? That's you saying I'm unaware of terms.
All right.
Yeah, you said I know so much of philosophy and I didn't know these like rudimentary philosophical terms. I'm asking for an instance of one term I'm unaware of.
Yeah, okay. Let me know when you can like refute something like the successive addition argument or the causal finitism argument.
Well,
like
again,
something like that.
I told you I'm down, but you would have to present the actual argument.
No, I'm not going to have to present it to like. I mean, I don't have to.
So then, what would I object to? Some characterization of my own.
I don't.
If you want, I can do that, right? But
genius.
They may not be fair.
It makes look stupid if I'm arguing with a stupid. All right, so I'm not going to do that. I'm sorry. Like, I mean, this is
Look,
this is
you
your.
can run away if you
this
want.
Is why you're, okay, I got it. Okay, understood.
Yeah, that's fine. Run away.